Episode 104. Jade is tortured to drink. Jade had never felt so helpless. Would anyone come to help her? Hearing a sound, Bruce looked back out of curiosity. He didn't expect to see a group of men pushing a woman into a room, and he thought that the woman looked like Jade. What was going on? Bruce raised his hand, which had just recovered a few days ago. His eyes instantly became incomparably cold. He raised the corner of his lips. If it was really her, things would get interesting. "Sir, this is the place," said the waiter respectfully. "Got it, you can go," Bruce said coldly as he waved his hand. Tom had a lewd smile on his face. He was already imagining how to torture Jade. Bitch. Last time you damaged my reputation and maybe get chased away. Let's see how I'll teach you a lesson this time." Tom revealed a cool expression. But just as he was about to enter, a cold voice suddenly sounded from behind him. Tom. Tom immediately turned his head when he heard the voice. His facial expression changed drastically when he saw that it was Mr. Stevens from the Stevens Group. In fact, the Stevens Group wasn't a big deal. It was only Bruce's mother's family that was very powerful. Compared to them, Tom wasn't that powerful, so he couldn't afford to offend Bruce. "Oh, Mr. Stevens, what a coincidence." Although Tom was older than Bruce, he still spoke to him with respect. "That woman just now?" Bruce coldly glanced at the room. Although the light inside was very dim, he still recognized at first glance that it was Jade who was struggling. "Oh, I made you laugh. He respects me. What? Mr. Stevens is also interested." Tom wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. The last time he suffered because of that woman, he almost offended a mysterious person and the owner of the bar. He didn't want to offend Mr. Stevens this time. It seemed like Jade brought him nothing but bad luck. He should stay away from her. Tom had been carefully watching Bruce's expression. Sure enough, Tom noticed that Bruce had been staring at the box. He was afraid that Bruce knew Jade. Tom had an idea. He thought that he might as well retreat instead of getting himself into trouble. "Oh, your little brother has been dutiful to you. He's been really good to you." Bruce licked his lips. There was no expression on his face, and no one knew what he was thinking. It was this elusive expression that made Tom even more unsure of how to deal with him. "If you, Mr. Stevens, like that woman, you can have her as a gift." Tom kept guessing at Bruce's thoughts, but he was afraid that he had guessed wrongly. After he spoke, Bruce didn't say anything. Instead, Bruce used his eyes to signal him to open the door. As soon as Tom understood, he immediately opened the door for Bruce. While he cursed in his heart, he said to Bruce with a smile, "Come, Mr. Stevens, come in." At that moment, Jade was being pressed to the sofa by a few men. Her hair was messy, and she looked terrible, but she was still struggling with all her might. Bruce's cold face was filled with ridicule. He slowly walked forward and grabbed her chin to make her look directly at him. Besides shock, there was hatred in her eyes. "Ha, Jade, I didn't expect it to really be you. You have today too?" Bruce saw her face and tightened his grip on her. But very quickly, he retracted his strength. It was because the moment he used his strength, he felt a sharp pain. It was all because of that damn incident with Dario and this damn woman. Jade looked at him coldly. There wasn't a trace of expression on her face. Regret and hatred showed in her eyes. Her gaze angered Bruce even more. He lightly threw Jade onto the sofa and said, "Jade, don't look at me like that. You are not worthy." When he saw Jade looking at him like that, for some reason an inexplicable fire ignited in his heart. In the past, Jade's eyes only showed admiration for him. To her, he was so high, mighty, and unique. Just then, she had a similar look in her eyes. It was just that she had changed her target. That day, he actually saw Jade looking at Dario with the same gaze, and she even snuggled gently into his embrace. Even if he didn't want them, he wouldn't allow anyone to take away his things. As he thought of these things, Bruce's eyes became even colder. When Tom saw his reaction, he became even more confused. At first, he thought that Bruce liked this woman, but now it seemed like he had a grudge against her. His eyes suddenly turned cold. When he thought about how Jade had offended him and saw how rude Bruce was to her, he revealed an evil smile. Tom said, "Mr. Stevens, it seems like this woman has a very strong temper. Why don't I help you teach her a lesson?" Bruce turned his head coldly. The atmosphere instantly became frigid. Tom's entire body stiffened when he looked at him. He thought that he had said something wrong. Just as he was about to change his words, he saw a frightening smile appear on Bruce's face. "Tom, how do you want to teach her a lesson?" Bruce asked without emotion as he raised his eyebrows. Tom smiled and picked up a glass of hard liquor on the table. He added something to the glass in front of Bruce and slowly walked to Jade's side. No one made any effort to stop him. Bruce sat leisurely on the sofa and looked at them like he was watching a good show. Jade narrowed her eyes. Although she didn't know what Tom had put in the glass, she had a premonition that it was something bad. She wanted to escape, but the men beside her held her tightly and didn't give her the chance to move. Tom, whose face was covered in oil, approached her step by step. When he saw her resist, he became forceful. He stretched out his fat hand and forced her to open her mouth and drink the liquor. "Drink. Drink for me." Jade wanted to throw up, but Tom didn't give her a chance. He lifted her head and let the spicy liquid flow into her throat and into her stomach. A burning sensation quickly spread through her body. Besides drunkenness, another unfamiliar feeling invaded her body. Tom thought that Jade wouldn't cooperate, so he prepared the drug. He didn't expect to give it to someone else. Although he was angry, he didn't dare to flare up. He had a cheeky smile on his face and said, "Mr. Stevens, enjoy it slowly." When he finished speaking, Tom tactfully led his group of men away. After walking out of the corridor, Tom spat on the ground fiercely with a face full of disdain. He said, "What was about to be mine was actually taken by someone. How did Tyler Winsett find me a woman who brings so much bad luck? Tom, calm down." The man next to him handed him a cigar.